Ayer Council on Aging Board Meeting, Tuesday, February 10th, 2026 at 2 p.m. This meeting will be held in person at the location provided on this notice. Members of the public are welcome to attend this in-person meeting. Please note that while an option for remote attendance and/or participation via Zoom is provided as a courtesy to the public, the meeting/hearing will not be suspended or terminated if technological problems interrupt the virtual broadcast, unless otherwise required by law. Members of the public with a particular interest in a specific item on this agenda should make plans for in-person versus virtual attendance accordingly. This meeting is available on Zoom. The public may access the proceeding by joining Zoom meeting ID number 375-414-6055 or by calling 929-205-6099. For additional information about remote participation, please contact Carly Antonellis, Assistant Town Manager at atm@ayer.ma.us or at 978-772-8220 extension 100 prior to the meeting. We'll call the meeting to order. I'll look for a motion to approve or amend or to amend the agenda.
I think we need to amend the 12/09/2026 minutes to,
We can't do them in advance?
well, we need to change the date. Change the date. Yeah,
All right.
it's 2025.
Anything else?
Other than that, I thought the agenda was,
Dennis,
Yeah,
anything?
no, everything's good.
Katie, did you have anything?
I did not have anything.
All right, so make a motion that we accept the agenda with the change.
I'll make a motion to
Second,
that.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Cheryl's not here yet, so the aye carries. Okay.
I must apologize to the committee, the minutes are still not done. So I hope to do better.
All right, do you need assistance?
I may.
No,
right.
just follow out.
Yeah, just let us know.
Okay,
We'll be more than happy to do what we can do. Okay. 210, we'll go public input.
No, we're short.
Anybody?
We're short. Unless Casper.
So there is no public hearing, no public interest. Okay. Katie, you're up. Director's
All
report.
right, director's report. I don't have it in front of me, so I'm gonna share it. I'll just do the share
Okay.
screen. Okay. Alrighty, there we go. Okay. So standard director's report in terms of statistics for January. Dining was down just a little bit. And again, due to typically weather fatigue, breathing is the worst for people in August and January. So those are typically most lightly attended programs. So we did have
school.
Let's see, we had provided outreach to 33 older adults, a total of 46 times. Housing concerns, wellness checks, and food insecurity were the most frequently sought out types of assistance or types of outreach. Suggestion box, practical things, including more bathroom spray and for staff volunteers and non-residents to park down at Peroni Park. It's a great suggestion if Peroni Park was being consistently cleared, but since it's not, I don't know how viable that is. I currently park in the snowbank as it is. I don't take up a parking spot, as does Denise.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after people get dropped off.
Yeah.
I know I've looked at Peroni Park a couple of times and while it may be parked, sometimes the walking on the hill up.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
slippery.
And if you're leaving after dark, it is.
It's really dark down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So-
it's, yeah,
whose responsibility is it to have the parking lot plowed?
it's Parks and Rec's responsibility.
And Carly, have you reached out could you reach out to Parks and Rec, or how does that work?
So
That's,
my
it's all-
it's been getting plowed is my understanding, right?
Well,
Katie?
I can tell you now, looking out the door, that it's not plowed, not even close.
So there was discussion about it when it didn't get plowed after the big storm. There was discussion between DPW and Parks and Rec. And I thought an agreement had been reached, but it did not get plowed after this last storm on Saturday. So it's still not plowed
Okay, she
unless it's
just
been plowed
met
during the
with,
day.
all right, she just met with Robert, so let me follow up with her and I will,
Okay, yeah,
I'll let you know.
okay, thanks.
If that happened and people parked down there.
Yeah.
Could Sam make a run with the bus to?
If Sam is here, but
Right, I
nine
mean,
times out of
but-
10, he's out on the road.
Right, but with the lunch.
I mean, if he happened to be there at that time, sure. I just, because people come in over anytime between 11:30 and 12.
Right,
So if he didn't have other rides, but I would say that's maybe 5% of the time.
right,
Yeah.
but if they knew he was coming at 11:55.
But unfortunately, due to like medical appointments not having a clear scheduled end, I just wouldn't want people sitting down there waiting for a ride. I love the idea.
Yeah,
If it was a reliable solution. I just don't think it is. Now, hopefully, well, by the time we get a second van, we'll be in a new space, so it won't be relevant anymore. But yeah, maybe I should get myself a little golf cart, zoom down
I
there.
thought that would
And,
be wonderful,
yeah.
for things like that.
Except now you have to have heated and covered for it.
Yeah. There you go. So, let's see. We had our 2026 listening session in January, and we reviewed what went well and what needed improvement for 2025 and set goals for 2026. I left those hanging up for about 2 weeks, but I've taken them down now. If anyone wants to look at them and review them, they're in my office. Happy to pull them back out again. We started a new service in January for dementia nurse consultation. So if anyone is living, Lynette is a wonderful resource. It's free to come in and meet with her an hour at a time. And she really works with, doctors diagnose and doctors prescribe, but how do you live with it? How do you cope? How do you live? What are tips and tricks for managing behaviors, for a very large and long continuum of abilities? Bernadette is a wonderful resource. So we have had clients last month and one this month. So I'm excited to be able to offer
Yeah,
that
that's
service. Yeah. So
And are the participants self-referring or being referred by family members or some, how does?
well, it's too early now, but it just depends because the service is, the consultation is both for family members and for the person living with dementia as well. So we've had a little bit of both so far. And then I did put something out on the Air community page, and I will do that again in advance of the next one, just to get some more community understanding that this is available, because I think this is an offering that's less likely to be used by our regulars here
Correct,
and
yeah.
more likely by community members.
So what is it? She here one day a week or?
She's
is she
here
one day a month?
one day a month and for three
Wow.
hour long
Okay.
appointments. Yep.
Katie,
Um,
does she take, excuse me,
yeah.
Katie, does she bill insurance or is this a grant that we have or how is she funded?
It's completely pro bono. It's something she
Wow.
did for her entire life, and she's retired now, and it's something
Hmm.
she feels very passionately about. I think she does it for 3 or 4 centers, and it's kind of a passion project for her.
Wow.
Okay,
Wow.
great.
So we are incredibly lucky
Very
that
much.
she reached out to us.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. So the meals program was covered up there in the activities, 249 meals. Again, that is a lighter number than it normally is. I think largely on account of the cold and the snow. 70 meals delivered to 11 Meals on Wheels clients. I will say this week, I noticed another drop in our clientele. So something tells me I need to loop back to Mock and see if they scrubbed the list again, due to funding, but the number dropped back down again. So I will
So-
follow up on that.
Just to, so over the last year, let's say, so Mark tracks the Meals on Wheels list independently of,
Correct. So Mock is in charge of who they are the receiver of the federal funds for that. And then we basically just, they're kind of the middle person and they coordinate the catering and the delivery to our sites. And then we do the deliveries, but we don't get to choose who's on the list. We receive a list. They are aging services of North Central Mass clients. They are self-referred in, there are a whole host of ways that you can get on the Meals on Wheels list, but the main criteria is that you have to have trouble you have to have mostly be homebound, but more importantly, have trouble shopping for groceries or have trouble preparing meals, the actual cooking of the meals. So
So they can take people right off the list.
So they can screen people out anytime they want. So if, for example, sometimes clients go on after a surgery, right? So it's maybe a temporary placement for like 4 weeks or something while they are recuperating from a surgery. Other times, obviously, if someone passes away, then they come off the list and that opens up a space for someone else. But sometimes they get screened out and they told us that they were when it was the summer when the budgets were announced, they said that they were going to be really going through that list again. And like I said, there was only 3 people on Monday that got a delivery, and normally that is 6, 7, 8 people, and Mondays are lighter day. So I will look back at the list and do a little research to see if they're off, or maybe sometimes they get removed from the list because someone gets hospitalized, right? And then they come back on again. So I'm going to watch it again because again, I knew that they did a round of cuts, and based on Monday, I was like, oh, yikes. Okay. So I'm going to follow up on those to see. I have looked into if there's any alternatives that can come from us. Because I, for example, know 2 or 3 of our clients who have been on the wait list to receive Meals on Wheels for months and months and months and months. And I wish there was another way that we could provide them services.
and they're not approved because Mock is at capacity, so they can't have any extra.
Yeah,
But they are qualified to receive it.
correct.
Wow.
Right.
So, but
And-
it doesn't matter where somebody falls off from mock, does it, or does it have to be this? Does it have to be Ayer? Could it be somebody like, somebody in Fitchburg falls off, there's another opening for who's ever next on the list?
No, I don't know if they do a formula based on population or if it's based on greatest need. I don't actually know the answer to that. I'm not sure.
That's good.
Yeah. And it is hard because,
Yeah.
we see clients here that we are like, these Meals on Wheels would really help that person. I have seen the intake questionnaire, so I know what questions are going to get asked. I know they would screen in, but they'll be placed on a wait list and have been on wait lists for months and months and months, which is a very long time in the life of a frail elder. Just because there's a wait list, there's not enough funding.
have any idea how it is?
I have asked for that information and I have not gotten a response.
From Mock? Okay.
Yeah, from Mock. Yeah. So
And what state agency oversees Mock?
who oversees Mock? Oh, I don't know. I actually
Under
don't-
Aging Services?
Well,
They get a variety of funding. They
Yeah,
get federal,
yeah.
they get state.
mhm,
They're like a CAC,
mhm.
only bigger.
What, I'm sorry, Cheryl, what's a CAC?
A community action center. They were funded during the Johnson administration, the Great Society, and
Yeah.
but they have a variety of funding sources. I think home delivered meals are federal though. I think they get
Yeah.
federal, some little bit of state funding.
Right. So it's because that's when we saw the biggest cuts was when the federal budget was
Right.
announced this summer. So, Mary Ellen and I have put our heads together to determine if there's some other way to make it work, because there are other providers of repackaged meals. Most of them are frozen rather than fresh, but we weighed. First of all, we can't get the wait list
Mhm.
from Bach. It would be great if we could. But we also had concerns that even if we could fund it out of our department,
For a
even
period of time.
for a period of time while they were on the wait list,
Yeah.
I was concerned that that might actually hinder their ability to move up the wait list. So,
I hear that.
but without having
Any idea of
any
where?
idea of who it is, then it really is a moot point. We can't move forward on it. So, so that number is a little bit lower. I will keep watching that.
Mm.
Let's see, 449 trips in January. Again, that's about right, maybe slightly low. Because January is a slower month. We had 13, pretty typical for volunteers. You guys came out even in the cold. 13 volunteers worked a total of 140 hours. We also had the annual volunteer training session where we discussed the volunteer handbook. And if that's later on in the agenda, but I'm closing out that feedback now and going to put together the final draft of that. In terms of the building committee, the design development drawings are complete. This corresponding cost estimate is done. We're just wrapping up what they call the comment period. So everybody on the committee and the relevant town officials are looking through the design development drawings and putting together comments, which will then be processed through the OPM and the architect, and modifications and changes, will be made based on that before moving into construction documents.
So just to kind of put an exclamation point after that, this is something that I've learned over the last several months, is when the building starts being built or when the bidding goes out to the construction companies, it's going to be fundamentally too late to make any real substantive changes to the design.
Mm-hmm.
We need to know now what the needs of the town are, what the needs of the different community agencies are, who is looking for what, so that we can incorporate them as much as is feasible at this point into the design of the building. So, we're working on the landscaping and the IT infrastructure, the door access controls, any number of other things that are going, where the screens are going to be going. So all of this to say that I, as an uninformed citizen, have always thought, well, when they put it out to bid, you just say, hey, I'd like to see this in the building, and they're able to do it. That's not how it works. We, the building committee, are planning months in advance of it going out to bid what needs to be in the building. So we have to have a clear understanding of what the needs of the different entities within the town are and how best to see that those will be met. So, that's kind of where we are in the process. So I would encourage folks to reach out to the building committee if they have particular desires or needs. And even at this point, it's, the design development documents are pretty complete. So, and again, what we want to do is we want to avoid change orders that occur late in the process because something substantive was missed. And time is of the essence. So,
So
Awesome.
Dennis, excuse me, Dennis, when could you're on that building committee?
I am.
So if I had a suggestion and I just mentioned it to you, you would present it to the committee and they would take it under advisement? Is that how it works?
Yes, yeah. You can, if you want to give me a call or
Yep, I
discuss
will.
what might be possible.
That'd be great.
Absolutely.
As a person that lives in a wheelchair, I have a lot of ideas. People might think I'm harebrained, but especially the front of the building if there was an overhang of some sort, so that if an attendant was helping to assemble the wheelchair or move me or not just me, but anybody in a handicap vehicle, just coverage, just having like an awning or something over the building is real helpful.
No, that's a good thought.
I don't know
The
if
other thing
anyone-
that we're thinking, the other thing that we're thinking of is it worth or would we want to kind of heat or electrify the entering patio to the front door
That's
so
really
that
nice.
it's less likely that it becomes icy or snow encrusted? And what are the financial trade-offs for that? Because that's kind of a pricey thing to have, built into the
Yep.
hardscape. But there are certain advantages to it, obviously, that we would
There
want
are.
to
I worked at
consider.
a nursing home in Leominster that had an electrified walkway, and there was never any ice or snow on it. It was amazing. It was really helpful for frail elders and their family members to get in and out without worry of falling and injuring themselves. So that's a good consideration. I don't know if anyone's ever been to Dartmouth Hitchcock up in Keene, Cheshire Medical Center. They have a beautiful, huge awning as you pull up to the front of the hospital. It's beautifully designed, and it's flat, and there's handicap accessible parking. So it's whoever did the architecture of that building deserves an award. It's just wonderful for anybody that needs assistance. So
Okay, yeah, that's
Good
great to
point,
know,
Dennis.
Cheryl. Okay, give me a call.
I will. Thank
And
you.
I'll bring it down here and look at the plan.
Thanks for the reminder.
Okay.
All right.
We did that, use this to the.
The electrified
Sidewalk.
walkway. Yeah. Yeah. That's not in there right now, but I would love to see it go in. And that's, again, part of that comment period is
Yeah.
what other things.
She
can we
doesn't
get-
go out that door, but.
Right.
It's an ambulance
Yeah.
had to go.
There you go. We're obviously always looking for grant opportunities. One was submitted last week for the Compact IT grant. And we're working on the CDBG grant application right now. In terms of master plan, that is going to be revised this year, and the town manager had asked each department to identify goals in the master plan that pertain to our department, and then to do some of our own departmental goals. So the master plan goal number 3 is to redevelop downtown and identify a location that could accommodate the space needs of the senior center. So obviously we've done that. That is accomplished, and one could argue that the location at Bishop Road adds to the efforts to revitalize Park Street through there. So then I took a look at my own departmental goals and my individual professional goals. These are in the director's report, obviously. So construct the senior center, increase the transportation services to include a fixed route bus service in addition to our on-demand, adding a second van. That process has been initiated, and the goal is to have that in place not for the upcoming fiscal year, but for the following one. Always increasing outreach services and offering some special interest groups, something that's been on my list, and we had started to work on it, but then needed to take a step back through the building committee. So because of my extra tasks related to that. So that is still on my departmental goal list, as well as continuing creating and revising the documentation related to our evaluation, which could eventually lead to national certification. So for myself, I said one of my goals for the upcoming year is to transition the longevity ledger over to Canva, to implement the volunteer handbook policies, revise our broader user policies and procedures, and to, again, consistent with what the department is doing, I will create the documents and procedures needed for that come out of our evaluation, because there's several, that we've talked about as action steps.
And on the conversion to Canva,
Mhm.
are there any when that is posted to the website, are there any glitches or formatting issues because you're changing the software, or is it gonna is it gonna post to the Town of Ayer's website as, you know, looks like it's supposed to look?
Oh, it will post, it will be like it's supposed to look. So, instead of using Publisher,
Yeah.
like that old newsletter will just die.
Mhm.
And then the new newsletter will be created completely from scratch in Canva.
Can you do a template?
So there are some templates. Um, I've been, the volunteer handbook
Yeah.
is, I modified a template to make that work. And then, yeah, so Canva is wonderful with that, but none of the things are perfect,
Yeah.
right? So there's documents, and some of it is editable and some of it's not. And so it's a little bit of a trick finding something like I want to stick with that autumn theme. I want to stick with the
Mm.
autumn colors that go with it. What will be nice is now the newsletter is printed in black and white and it's viewed online in black and white. What will be nice going to Canva is you'll be able to view it online in color. We'll still print it black and white,
Yeah.
but it will be viewed online in
Nice.
color, which is going to be wonderful. And it will be a PDF. So once I've made it in Canva, I'll save it as a PDF. And so then it will come out
Great.
readable for everybody.
Yeah.
So, but it is a big undertaking. Even the existing publisher newsletter from month to month, much of it is the same, but you'd be surprised how many times I'm moving this text box this way or that
Because
way.
you're trying to make something else fit.
Right, yeah. So there's still, and so it will take several months to, in bits and pieces, build a complete new newsletter.
And I must say, thinking back, a couple of years for when, the newsletter was first getting up and how big should it be, and it has become a pretty remarkable document in a relatively
wonderful.
short period.
It's wonderful.
How complete and how much information is there, and it goes well beyond what I was anticipating. So kudos, I thank you.
Yep.
I mean, that as an information resource, but also I think it lends, it's the kind of like the front facing door to the program. And the
Mhm.
fact that people are seeing such a professionally done, well edited and complete newsletter that, it speaks to the program as a whole. So
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I
All right.
second that opinion.
Thank you. I don't have any specific volunteer opportunities for February. But you guys are always welcome to come down, hang out, do you think?
well, what's the story on Valentine's
Yeah,
Day?
we don't need help with Friday.
Right now, I think we're good with our group. We could maybe use one or two people. Let me check back in with Denise, because it's not a huge group of people. We're not splitting across both rooms,
Okay.
but if one or two people wanted to
I'll
help.
be here anyway.
Okay, all right.
What is the dolphin going away and maybe like a husky greeting?
There you go.
Hey, big
Yeah.
fella.
I change it to the.
There probably is a way.
Good luck, my husband, change it every day. Keep us on our toes.
The budget was submitted. As you guys know, I submitted it and then I had to make some revisions and resubmit. And draft number 1 was already presented to the town. So far, I haven't had a departmental meeting to discuss my budget, so I'm gonna say no news is good news in that way. I may have one. I had one last year, but I haven't had one this year, so who knows?
And there's going to be, and Carly, there's going to be one public forum on the overall budget or two? I know some years you've had two.
I think they said they were gonna do one. She might have had someone come
Yes.
in her office.
Sorry, we're gonna do one and I think it's March.
That'll be after draft 2 of the budget, right?
Yep, it will correspond with the release of draft 2.
Great. And so we're still waiting for clerical union
Yeah,
negotiation.
clerical union negotiations. We're still waiting on school assessments, which are big. Health
Yeah.
insurance, we're still waiting on. So we don't really have a meaningful document until we have those numbers.
Let's see. So, yeah, so that was the only thing. So from our department's perspective, I did put out proposed changes for the van coordinator and the nutrition coordinator position. So, once that is done and over, I'll know the results of that as well as any budgetary impact, from the negotiations as well. And then last but not least, the annual town report is due February 27th. That's something I've historically written. It's a action-packed one-page document. If anyone wants to work on that with me or proofread it or anything, I would always love the support. So, I think that's all I have. For any questions on the director's report?
You actually always answered the budget update on here,
Oh, okay.
unless
Good.
is there
Nope,
more?
nothing else.
So there hasn't been any, I know that there were 3 potential scenarios. And the most draconian one, probably not on the table, but is still lying out there somewhere in the ether.
Right, so the level service budget was put into draft one. So I think, as Carly said, they're still waiting on several pieces of the puzzle, the school assessment, the clerical union negotiations, and the health insurance. And so once those numbers come together, then we'll see where it all shakes out to. But for right now, it's the typical level service
Yep.
budget is in the draft one.
So moving on to the volunteer manual.
Yes. Thank you, everyone, for taking a look at that for me.
Does anybody have any, I have a couple, but does anybody have any other comments to it? Dennis, do you have any?
No,
comments on it?
the only was, I think last month we mentioned the role of the COA or how that. And there was some minor changes to how we as volunteers are somewhat different than volunteers that are,
Yep.
selected by Katie for particular tasks. Just to kind of help people understand that we are appointed by the select board, which is not typical of volunteers here.
Right, correct.
Yep. Mark, did you have any?
I made some marks thing on, I'm getting there,
Okay.
but go ahead with you,
Right.
let's see if they're.
As I told you, I said it was a great idea. I think it was very well
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Beautifully done. Yeah.
It was great. I don't have any substantive comments. A couple of them I have is the font should be all the same.
Yeah.
Going through. Some of the things is maybe more taking the most. If you're having the employees use this for the feedback form or for their evaluation form, it's tough when they're in there to rip them out, or you're gonna give them a new one every
I'll
year.
give them a new one. Yeah.
If I was leaving stuff in here, I might just cross it as a sample so you can change it.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
That type of stuff this is what it was in there. So just maybe that was just a couple of things that I had on that one. The same thing with like the incident accident report. I get having them in there. If you want them to use those. I mean, the thing is also too, is I don't think, as much as we would like people to carry these around with them. I don't.
No, I'm not expecting them
Okay.
to. We'll have. I'm probably even going to keep that back page that they sign.
Yeah.
That can all just stay intact, and then I will print out ones for people to sign, and then the accident and the incident reports would live in the front desk.
Yeah, so
up there. Yep.
so maybe something in here about where they are, or those types of things.
Okay.
You'll find this report or new generation of this report someplace else. The frequently asked questions. I like when they're in there because it gives them, but to keep it pretty, there again too, is sort of to keep it general. is if somebody's gonna say, if we change something, but my handbook says.
Right,
You know, so that
right.
is sort of that. kind
Yeah,
of stuff.
okay,
And also too is, yeah, they're great. But if it's gonna be a frequently asked question that somebody may always look to something to make sure they're saying it right,
mhm,
just to have it as a separate document someplace.
okay,
You know, more
okay,
that you find, or you'll find this in more in-depth questions answered wherever and put that there.
okay.
And believe me, school, we pulled out the handbook as teachers and parents.
Yes,
Mhm.
but you had a space for them, like, you know, the
Oh, we
teacher you
did.
had as your
We had
desk.
it right there.
Or
in our-
and as a parent, you were looking at it like this one
And,
as that volunteer.
yeah, and we would pull it out and say, you're saying there's a very thin line there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But mine was on, the accessibility part of it with
Okay.
the, and I know some of this is written for the new senior center,
Mhm.
because as volunteers, we haven't had the training with the disability. I'm
Right.
speaking for myself too.
Sure, sure.
Um,
So when train,
or, if somebody were to come in and really needed assistance,
Mhm.
how much are we to do?
That's a good point. So that is something that will grow from from where we are now, is how do we get the appropriate training to
Yeah,
make sure that
and-
we are following our own accessibility policy. Yeah,
Right.
agreed.
And I get that number. We don't really see,
Right.
but we will hopefully at the,
and
and yeah, I mean, you know, I don't have any problems. I get up and do,
Mhm.
but how much can we, and what I can't do, I'll call.
Right.
And I think, I mean, hopefully, when the Disability Commission is up and functioning, that it would be able to, you know, the members of that committee might provide resources or might provide some information that will help tie what the senior center is trying to do here into the overall town and state and local requirements regarding.
But it doesn't say that here. It says staff shall, volunteers will be trained.
Mhm.
No, I
So
understand.
that puts
Yeah.
it on the volunteers.
Right. So what I foresee as this plays out is we have the handbook.
Mhm.
The handbook gives us a structure, and then there are some steps that come as a result of having that
Mhm.
structure. So making sure that that training does happen. And right now there's no mechanism. It's not even mandatory. Like we don't even have like a
A translator.
mandatory annual anything, right?
We
So
don't have any ability to translate or to give them.
right. So that's the idea, is that by putting some of this in place, then it gives me additional action items. But it wouldn't make any sense to hand, I guess I wouldn't see it as making sense to hand you guys a translator and they'd be like, well, what is that? And I'd say, well, I thought it was a nice thing, versus, no, actually, it says in the volunteer handbook that our goal is to provide accessibility to all folks. In order to carry that out, here are the tools that you need to be able to
Yep.
use or refer to or whatever. And so it builds that framework around it. So it's not instantly going to be in place,
Right.
but that
Yeah.
helps set that process in motion.
I mean, I can sign certain words, but I'm not going to, you know.
I understand. No,
shouldn't have
right,
to
right,
Unless you teach it to us.
right. And so
It's
that's
also refresher.
right. So that's what will come from this, is
Mhm.
what are a reasonable set of things to do? What is not a reasonable set of things to do? And how do we get the tools in place to do that?
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where I took some of this and I went,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, no, I think that's great
That's
feedback.
a lot putting on
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
at the desk.
Yep. No, I think that's great feedback. And like I said, I'll go through and further review. And there may be things that I take out, or there may be things that I leave in, but then need to schedule some additional training for.
And I
So-
have no problems with if you have a 2-hour seminar for us,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
saying, here's a quick,
Right, right. Okay,
like a PDF day.
yeah,
Come get your.
Right.
You know,
no, I think that's excellent. I will definitely follow up on that and see what we need to get in place.
yeah,
So I know you had the initial training,
Mhm.
review whatnot.
It was more of a
Yeah,
presentation of it to get people's feedback.
was it- did you get any feedback from
I
anyone
was
who
in here, she
attended?
had me for that.
Well, no, I was here. I was here for it. I was just looking to see if there was any from any regular attendees that.
There were several good comments during the presentation, and I incorporated that into the next draft. I didn't get, to be honest, I didn't get a lot of substantive feedback from the volunteers. I
Yeah.
followed up with each one of them. That's okay. I would love to have feedback, and that's why I'm running it by you
Yeah.
guys too.
Mhm.
I do anticipate that in the course of the next year, as we bump up against something that's an expectation, then people might read more closely, or they might have feedback at that point. And
Yeah.
this is a living document. Every policy and procedure is a living document, and it
Absolutely.
will get modified as situations,
Yep.
require it. So,
I mean, like I says, I liked it. I like the responsibility laid out in there, especially with regards to, potential terminations or resignations of volunteers and how that might work.
mhm.
I just, maybe think about how you're gonna handle if somebody refuses to sign,
Somebody what?
refuses to sign.
It refuses to sign the handbook.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
just like I
yeah.
said, that's throw it out there and,
Mhm.
and think about it, because you may not in the first round, but potentially afterwards, you may get pushback. That's all I'm saying.
Right. Yeah.
And just think about what's gonna be the ultimate outcourse of that. Anything else on that one, Katie? Cheryl, did you have any comments on it?
I thought the graphics were great. It was easy to read. It was pretty straightforward. I loved it. I thought it was a great
Yeah.
guide. Thank you for doing it. And it took a lot of work. I could tell.
I was happy to put it together.
Yeah, no, I think you're following some of the national,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and that was appropriate.
Yeah.
I felt like I was back in school signing my, you know, but that was the one that got me was the, and I think sometimes you have to, as you and I know, we have to have the two-sided conversation.
Mhm. Mhm.
Because not everything is the black and white.
Right. Right. Is there something in particular you're
No,
referencing?
I just think sometimes you're busy when something comes in, you
Right.
got your door closed, you're on
Yeah.
and Mary Ellen might be out of the building.
Right. I think my door has been closed
It's
twice in the last 6 months.
right, but things.
It's a
do
very,
happen.
very rare.
Things do
So
happen.
I think that's actually a really great addition to the training manual.
Yep.
Is when to interrupt staff.
Yeah. Some of us have, and I'm just saying that, some of us have, we don't quite know.
Right. No, and I think that's excellent feedback, because there are certain circumstances under which I would say I will get a message later and I will say, why did no one interrupt me? If I was on the phone or meeting with someone that deserved a tap on my shoulder and it didn't happen. Lots of times it goes exactly how it's supposed to. Or sometimes someone will interrupt a meeting that I've got with an outside person to give me a phone message that was a pink slip that could have sat and waited
Yeah.
till I was done.
So not understanding the criticality or.
Right. So I think that would be a great addition to
Yeah.
the manual.
And that's totally.
Okay, Oh, that's, a lot
Yeah.
of times that's personal. You know, it's just
We-
how they,
Right, but it's
How they presume
difficult
it.
sometimes to,
to balance it.
because some people drown.
Right. Well, but I think I could come up with a pretty
Mhm, I
um
think you can.
universal list
Yeah.
of things that would be, this is something that you take a phone message for. This is something that you interrupt staff for. So I think that would be,
No, I think
No, I think that would be the greatest help.
that would help
Yep.
assist them
Mhm.
well too. All right. So we're through the agenda, so we get to go to the fun thing.
Oh.
Now we get to go to the assessment. I will tell you, this is the last one, people. Woo-hoo. This is the last one.
Standard
that,
number
8.
record and reports.
Yes. So once this is done, I'll input this stuff into it. I'll get it out to everybody. So that you can take a look at it as completed as it is. We can make sure that I made all the necessary comments in there, that I didn't miss any. Or anything else like that. I might have changed some stuff. I did do some formatting of the document as a whole, so trying to get it all the same. It should, hopefully, should get it out to you this week, so you can take a look at it and we can. You never see us doing? Yeah, we can, yeah. Yeah, then maybe take a look at it as a whole if you want to or whatnot, but maybe also sort of in some respects, take a look at it with some of the other documents that came, like, did we really answer as we should have? You know, a lot of times we just sort of be like, see what that's out of. So, anyways, all right, Cheryl, you good? You can see it and everything? All right,
Yeah, it's,
so this is standard. I'm sorry, Cheryl?
no, I was gonna say, could it be made a teeny bit bigger? I don't know if you can enlarge it, or maybe I'll shrink down the boxes where we are, maybe I'll make it bigger.
bigger here. There we go.
Nice, that's better.
Is that a little bit better?
Yes, thank you.
So a senior center shall keep complete records that provide a picture of its daily, weekly, and yearly operations. It shall regularly prepare and circulate reports about its operations to inform its governing structure, participants, staff, funders, and community about the aspects of its operation, program, and services. A senior center shall maintain information on participants. All right. So which of the results are produced by the records retention policy? First of all, is there a record retention policy?
So a record collection policy?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Retention is always. Do you have one?
I mean, we have a record retention. There's a municipal records retention.
So as part of, let me,
Collection.
yes, let me, as part of your being a town department, does the town require certain records that you maintain or collect certain records regarding the work that you do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis?
yes and no. I mean, so I'm required to produce a department head report every month, and that is 99% the director's report to you guys. Then if it requires any updates
Yeah.
based on our meeting, then that gets updated and turned in as the department head report.
And would you say that your monthly director's report documents the scope of current operations?
Well, so I mean, I think if the point of this is to say, well, yeah, actually I would, because I mean, it talks about the number of programs, the number of,
Participants, yeah.
yeah,
But
so
it has your budget in it per month.
not monthly, but funding reporting requirements. The only funding reporting requirements I would have are like if I had a grant, which I don't have right now, I'm just following general accounting practices.
Right.
But I don't have, I'm not required to do like a state of the senior center or anything like that.
But,
And
but
you,
you're,
well, you have to keep up with your own budget. You have to stay within your own budget.
Yeah, but in terms of records, like there's not a
But-
requirement.
but the town, doesn't the town accountant require that your books be balanced, or is that on
So
a
she
monthly?
prints a
quarterly?
monthly munis report, yeah.
So
Um,
the responsibility, if I can, the onus on making sure it's balanced is on the town accountant. Each
Right.
department gets a sheet monthly to reconcile their own budget, but the if there's conflicts, the department head would reconcile to the town accountant's records. I mean, for the town of Ayer, we go by the town accountant's books. And we reconcile, monthly. I get sheets for our office every month, and if there's discrepancies, I work it out with the town accountant. But generally speaking, you would say that the town accountant's books are the town's books. And that's what the
Mhm.
auditors audit, are the town accountant's books.
Yep,
So meeting funding report requirements, that would be probably closer to more grant type of stuff.
yeah, I'm unclear. It seems muddy to me. I don't,
like the wording of
Yeah.
that question. So if I start at the bottom, can we start at G
Yeah.
and go
Oh,
back up
yeah,
again?
sure.
So do I have a system for recording the number of individuals each day? Yes, that's my senior
Yeah.
center. And is there a statistical system of recording participants in activities? Yes, that's my senior center. As is part E, maintaining the number of activities. That gives me a total count of activities and the total number of
Yeah.
programming hours and person programming hours. So, but do I do any reports to guide future planning? I don't write up a report for the listening session, but that certainly is a document that's created. I have my evaluation that I do with the town manager that guides my departmental goals. We just went through the master plan revision of goals. So, but I don't think of that as a records collection.
So you would say it's more informal. Or
but you have
you're
you
doing
have,
it, you're just not necessarily.
you have a document or a series of documents which help guide your future planning.
Right.
For example, the home delivered meals shortfall. That's going to guide future planning, and you record that in your report. You know, how many clients got home delivered meals, and you know the demand. Who hasn't gotten the meal? So that's going to guide your advocacy for, the whole board is going to advocate for more funding for home delivered meals. That's just an example.
So I mean,
could
I
get-
would say I agree. Yeah, that's all of those things together.
Yep.
But is there a formal record?
It's not necessarily formal, but it's
Okay.
there. I mean, should it be formal? Maybe that's the thing. Maybe it should be more formalized.
Well, let me ask you this. If someone were to ask you for a copy of your master plan, a copy of your annual budget, a summary of the number of people that were served over the course of the last year, you would, in a period of hours, perhaps a day or two, be able to pull that information together and provide them that information.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but see, I take some of that as things you do regularly too. And you're doing some
Yeah.
programs weekly, monthly.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, you're guiding your future planning
Right.
by continuously offering.
I mean, I think, yeah, 'cause if it wasn't successful, we'd stop it.
Right.
Mhm.
and work something else in.
There's also the annual report,
Annual.
which is not.
But I mean,
mentioned
weekly,
yet.
you're doing, Jeff
Mhm.
stuff, you're doing,
Right.
people may not see it all the same, but you're doing continuously.
Oh, yeah, but yeah,
The only thing I would say that I am not results that I am not getting is C, promoting
Yeah.
community support.
yeah, I would say no to that one.
And
And I'm looking at the funding requirement one, and I'm thinking that might even be more not applicable.
mhm,
Um, because of the way the funding works in the town.
mhm.
So I really think that's
Mhm.
more not applicable.
Not applicable, or the town is
Yeah.
meeting any funding reporting requirements.
Yeah.
So, all right, okay. All right.
Does the senior center produce a statistical report for a specific period of time for all activities and services?
Yes,
Yes. Is that your annual report or?
I would consider
Monthly?
that to be my monthly report and the annual report.
And it's relatively straightforward to summarize, pull all 12 months together and then generate an annual report.
Yep. Yeah, the annual
Yeah.
report I just change the date range in the software and then it will pull it for the whole year.
All right, so which of these is a part of the statistical management report? Unduplicated number of individuals participating?
Yes.
All over that one.
Number of people served by each activity in a certain time frame?
Yeah.
Yes. Number of units of each program or service?
I could pull that up if, so if I go back to the director's report here.
When they say
really
units,
quickly.
they mean number of times each program or service was offered.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for example,
That was
Stop
a question
share.
I had asked for a long time.
Okay, so if I share this, okay, so if I come back to the director's report. So for fitness and exercise, you see that 34 people attended fitness and exercise programs 129 times in
Good.
January. But what that does not say is how many fitness and exercise classes did we have? I can certainly pull that report. I don't. It's part of a statistical management. I have that, but it's not in the report. So I do talk about how many person programming hours. So we had 526 sign-ins and 559 person programming hours. So that's how many, like an hour-long exercise class attended by 10 people would be 10 person programming hours,
Okay,
right? Because there's obviously only 40 hours in our work week.
yeah,
So 559 is the number of people times the number of hours, person programming hours. So, because that's a good metric against, like, you could have a lot of different programs with only a couple of people in them, or you could have fewer programs, but lots of people in them. Right. So, all right. So
The answer to C was.
So I think the answer to C is no, but I could.
four. To whom are the written program/service reports given to on a regular basis? Participants?
No,
Yes.
not really. Well, if we're talking about the programs,
Your director's report is freely available to anybody at a publicly held meeting once a month.
But it's not directed towards them.
But it's,
Given on a regular basis.
well, is it posted somewhere? Is your director's
No.
report posted somewhere or?
it should be getting posted with our
Minutes.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, do you post it on the board outside or not, or?
No.
No.
Maybe so a participant could hunt it down if they wanted to, but it's not.
Right.
It's not, yeah.
So that would be the C.
I'd say that. Yeah, I'd say community could get it, yes. Governing bodies could get it, yes.
Well,
Funders,
Yes.
yeah.
so,
Most probably.
so
Does it
the governing bodies and advisory committees, that's you.
Yeah.
So yes, you guys get that.
Yeah.
And the select board is the first recipient of the department head report
Yeah.
before it's posted under department head reports on the town's website. I mean, I would say the same thing about the community as I do about the participants. It's if they look for it versus am I producing something where like I post a factoid online or something. So,
Yeah.
Does the newsletter have a link to the monthly director's report?
No.
no.
No, it's
And that's the cool thing though
minutes.
about moving the newsletter from publisher over into Canva is it will be easier. It's not that you can't do it now, but it would be easier to embed links in it because
I think that's a great idea, Dennis, and
yeah.
I would endorse it. I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, well, it's not to say it's gonna stop.
No,
It's just, some people would never think to look for minutes of the council on aging board versus somebody who's reading the newsletter.
Mhm.
Just click on that, so different thing. As far as funders go,
It's not almost predominant.
it is, I mean, they would get that, yeah. If anybody donates, they could also use to it too, but it's not.
Well, I have an annual report that goes to Age and they're
Okay.
one of our funders, right? So I have to submit annual reporting to them. I certainly give an annual report for the town,
Yeah.
who is my main funder. And then if I have a particular grant,
Yeah.
I have to do grant reporting. So I would say yes
So you
to
say, yes,
that.
okay. Any others? Okay.
No, I don't think so.
The senior center has maintained statistical reports over several years to determine trends.
So I actually don't think I'm doing a lot with that. I have given you guys, as part of my director's report at the end of the fiscal year and at the end of the calendar year, I try and give you yearly totals, but I don't know that I'm doing a lot in terms of trends. So that's an interesting idea. So I would say no, but I think that could be a great action item.
Emerging activities,
Does the senior center,
did the senior center software give you some trending?
can you go across years in the senior center software? About last year?
Yeah, I can set the date range however I want, so I could look at 1 year versus another year versus another year. It doesn't do that comparison for me. It doesn't do trends, but I can certainly
Export the data.
export that data and then look at it and identify a trend myself.
Yeah.
Does it have graphic capability?
No, but I would just export it into Excel and create something from there.
Okay.
Emerging activities.
Well, I mean, aside from the director's report, me telling you like we're trying to plan something, then I would say no. Usually I'm like, I had a great idea to do this thing, and then you see it once it has happened.
Activities diminishing in popularity.
Ooh, no, and that's also a good one. I think all three of those should go on an action item. Even if not on a monthly basis, because
Maybe like on
you're inching along,
like on a
but
biannual basis or something like that.
Yeah.
Because you want
Yeah.
something, you want enough data there to really sort of,
I mean, in the overarching question was over several years to determine.
Yeah.
So,
the center uses standardized participation form that gathers this information. Name, address, phone numbers, including cellular,
Mhm,
email,
mhm.
emergency contact.
Yes, there you go.
Today.
Yep.
Interest,
and see-
skills,
No.
and professional affiliations.
Those last two are no's.
So the last twos are no's, but the rest of them are all done in my senior center.
would those have any bearing? Getting that information, would it be of any use to you? So if you knew somebody had an interest or skill in,
Right,
graphic design or in,
right.
you might say, ooh, newsletter.
It would certainly be helpful. And there is a place, and I'm afraid to pull it up. Afraid to pull up my senior
Yeah,
center
get that,
for
yeah.
fear of it's hard to do it in a way that blocks
Yeah.
out
Mhm.
information.
Yep.
But in a sample older adult profile, there are these custom fields,
Yeah.
and I can go and fill things out. And veteran status used to be one of those, and then it just disappeared a few months ago. Where did it go? But there are some things, there's a lot more information we could be collecting on our users that we don't, because for me, I want to make the process of signing up for the senior center as streamlined as possible. And before I collect data on people, I want to have a clear vision of how I would use that information.
Yeah, and that's,
if you're-
that's a valid, it's a valid point. I didn't know if somebody had that.
If you had a computer expert.
Yeah, or if we had, exactly, we find that on my interest and skill.
Right.
Like proficient, the professional affiliations, the veterans ones are great ones too. Whether you had somebody who was like, you got a group of retired engineers.
Right.
I don't know what they
They
did,
could know the computers.
Retired lawyer, yeah.
Yeah.
those types of things that would have it.
Mhm.
And you're right, like somebody who's retired as an attorney or something like that, this is, maybe they would,
Right.
be of assistance in helping, hey, could I ask you a quick question?
Right.
Just sort of,
Absolutely.
where's the best place to direct?
Mhm.
It just, but
Mhm.
that's,
No, I like it.
all right.
Because
is-
that's the cool thing about older adults is that by the time I meet them, they have lived an entire life and had an entire career, and they have such a wealth of expertise and
And some
knowledge.
with more
That's,
careers.
that is true.
Yeah.
That is true. So
I guess that just in knowing that,
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
It is recommended that the senior center have a general participation information form with at least 6 of the above items that are completed by all participants.
I got 6. That's
Yeah,
it.
6. All right, information the senior center collects is safeguarded in the following ways. Access to physical files and computer files is limited.
Yes.
Information is used only for attendance purposes.
Yes.
Where technology is used, procedures are in place to protect the information.
Yes. So for example, in my senior center, there's a variety of different levels of permissions. So there is a login for a COA board member that you guys could use if you ever wanted to learn more about it. But you guys are limited. You can't change anything about people's records, and you also can't see the social service notes. So all the
Yeah.
things that are confidential would be unaltered. Confidential would
Should be.
be blocked, and things that someone who hadn't had the day-to-day training or use on
Yeah.
it wouldn't be able to edit or change.
Mhm.
And for example, only Mary Ellen and I have access to the social service notes. The other staff even don't have access to it. So those
that-
things are in place.
Is that web-based or is that an app?
It's web-based.
Web-based.
There is an app for the rides component of it that the drivers have in the car, but that's a limited portion of just the rides app.
Mhm.
Which is basically like a little van next to the person's name and address, and you
Oh.
hit arrived, departed, arrived, departed. That's
Hopefully for
weird.
emergencies.
What?
Hopefully based on emergencies,
What do you mean?
if they had a heart attack. The rider, they'd know who to.
Oh, no, that's not there. So in the app in the van, it's designed only to be the required information that they need to complete the ride.
Oh, okay.
So that it's
Pick up, drop off. places.
right. So the list of rides, the manifest is there. And so it says at 8:32, you're picking up this person, at 8:40, you're dropping them off, then you're picking this person and dropping that one off. And so, that's all, they just,
So they have to call back to you after they call 911 for an emergency to get hold of the family?
yes, because that would be part of standard reporting anyway.
Yeah.
Anytime an emergency happens, I need to be contacted within like 20 minutes. And I have a reporting procedure.
It's a long time. I know.
Okay, but their first,
I know.
if an emergency should happen on a van, their first and foremost responsibility is to the person on the van and engaging
Mhm.
emergency services. Everything after that is secondary,
Mhm.
and then, that I don't think would be out of the ordinary to have a
Mhm.
gap of that period of time before a loved one could be notified.
Yeah,
That would just be, because again, the focus would be on that person. Luckily, that doesn't happen very often, but,
yeah.
Does the senior center have a confidentiality policy that is followed by paid and unpaid staff?
yes.
Do they sign off on that?
So that is,
That's gonna be in the.
so for the staff, yes,
Yeah.
there is that expectation and a sign off
Yeah.
for the staff. For the unpaid staff, that's what we're putting in place of this volunteer
Yeah.
handbook. Everyone will have to sign off on that.
All right. Does the center have a policy and procedure manual that contains information on administrative functions? Not yet, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, what does it mean? by administrative
For
functions?
administrative functions, so the town has a personnel policy. For sure, and then the union has administrative functions.
I'm not sure what that
Policy
means.
and procedure manual. I would presume that is things that have the policies and procedures that govern the center.
No, I know, but I'm not sure what is meant by that contains information on administrative functions. I'm not sure what
I think
that.
it would just be anything that,
That almost sounds like a job description.
Yeah,
just almost like
For the
anything
director.
that's in the center. Whether it's,
Hmm.
Your policies and procedures, and some of it we've talked about is that list for volunteers who are at the desk. This is when you interrupt a person, all those types of
Mhm.
things. What Denise does is she sets up or all of those things. Those are all policies and procedures.
Mhm.
Administrative. Yeah, to a certain degree.
It's like, do they have a handbook?
Yeah.
So staff have a handbook. It's
Staff
the
does.
town personnel handbook. Because
But-
the town personnel handbook would supersede anything I would create anyway, so.
But not from a procedural point of view. If it's in the center.
Well,
well, you have an
Might work
opening
hand in
policy.
hand.
We are by, you have an opening policy, snow policy, some sort of dress code policy. You've got. I've seen that information compiled somewhere.
so the snow policy is at the departmental level. The dress code is a town personnel handbook
Katie, it's
policy.
also too because you have unionized employees, it's also part of the collective bargaining agreement.
So I don't think I have, aside from the snow policy, I'm gonna say that I don't have those, but the senior center does have them under its larger umbrella of the town personnel manual, the collective bargaining agreement, the union handbook, our job descriptions, the volunteer handbook, user policies and procedures, and then my local snow policy. I think all of those come together to a yes.
And those are all up at the town hall?
Yeah, they're on the town website, but yeah.
I agree.
Hmm.
I agree.
All right, check off items that are,
Hmm.
Oh, there we go. So
Okay.
then now we read down to the next one, we have to change our answer.
Hmm.
access and denial of service.
That is in the user policy and procedure manual.
Advisory council activities.
Yeah.
That's you
that's-
guys have that
that's
in
it.
your,
Wouldn't be the minutes? minutes of this meeting?
No, I think it's the
It's
COA
more of our CA
Yeah.
board
Your policies.
It's all-
bylaws,
bylaws. That's great.
application form for service.
We don't really have an application form. We fill out the file information in my senior center, so.
So we don't have any application forms either then. Or,
I mean, I would consider my senior center to be the form.
okay,
That's the,
So if somebody comes for, well, Meals on Wheels doesn't apply, but if somebody comes for tax prep or they want they'd like to speak to somebody regarding the dementia screening or they want to know how to sign up to get lunch. There are various ways for them to be able to do all those things.
right,
That
so,
are documented.
right, so let's go take a step back. So there is no manual that discusses these things. However, each of these things exists. So there is no application form for service, but if you're receiving services, we're going to make sure that you have a complete My Senior Center profile in order to do it. There is no application because there's no membership at the senior center. But again, you have your information in My Senior Center, and then there is the green sign up book where you're signing up for programs. Then I would say budget development, the town has a financial policy that would cover that. That covers, when I submit my budget, what my budget should look like, those kinds of things.
cash receipts and disbursements.
That
That's a
falls
town.
under the town.
But you have a separate petty cash.
Yeah, but I have to follow the town
I understand.
petty cash procedures for that as well.
Fine.
So, yes, we have those. I would have looked at that as the same as an application form. So
So
let's
it's in
call
My
D.
senior center.
Yeah, so let's call D would be the sign up sheets. And then C would then become either My Senior Center or non-applicable. Okay,
Confidentiality policy.
that's for staff. It's in the personnel handbook. And for volunteers, it's in the volunteer handbook. Excuse me.
All right. Contact information for collaborating organizations.
I do have a list of referrals, like that, a one-page sheet for that. Again, it's not in a manual. Maybe one of the action items would be to compile this into an organized fashion.
Credit cards, that would be under the town.
Mhm.
Crisis communication.
The town also has that.
Disruptive participant procedures.
That is in the existing policies and procedures.
Emergency preparedness guidelines.
I have, that's a yes, and it needs to be updated. We created a shell framework for that, 96 hours out, 72 hours out for like a big snowstorm approaching. And we have a list of people that require check-in by the fire department, our older adult at-risk list. I don't think we did that update going into this year, so that does need to be updated.
Incident report form.
The town has that, yeah.
Inclement weather closing.
That's printed in the newsletter.
Lunch reservation, that's
And that's in the green book. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Cheryl, I didn't know this.
Maintenance request forms.
That is handled via email, to housing.
So they don't have a regular form, they just send them an email.
Right, I sent them an email and then when they complete the maintenance item, they have a form that I sign.
All right, membership criteria.
That's laid out in the policies and. That's in the user policy and procedures.
Record retention.
That's in the towns.
Record retention and disposal now.
Yes,
Reference checks for the town.
I think that would just fall under the town.
Refund and credit.
I do not have a written policy, but which probably should become written. So my policy on that is if you sign up for an event and you pay for it, in advance, so that would be only certain subsets of things, like people don't pay in advance for lunch. But if you cancel and I have not already purchased the tickets, then I give people a refund.
Okay.
If I've already purchased the tickets, I will offer a refund if I can fill your space. If I can't fill your space, then
Okay.
I don't give it, but that is, I should add that to, that's next on my task is to make sure that the policies and procedures are updated. That's a good one to add there.
What about safety issues?
You
hasn't been asking with regard to this?
do I have
We have policies and procedures.
on a safety issue? So it's
Safety.
also, I'm gonna say unwritten there. That actually might be in the policies and procedures. I'd have to go back and look, but when I see that, I'm thinking of, if you fall or you are having
that
any sort of
incident?
cardiac event.
Those be incidents.
Yeah, but that was not anywhere else, was it? That's an incident report form.
And that's maintenance request form for safety.
So what would you think safety issues is then?
There's a lot of safety involved.
Yeah,
I think safety to yourself, to others, if you fall, if you.
Yeah, I think it's eyes, lights,
Right.
all those types of things,
Mhm.
you know, like
How to
parking. Okay, so parking down at Thorny Park.
Mhm.
All right, that's great, but if you've got a volunteer who's gonna be here. Like, would you have Donna park down there? When she may be leaving here at 8 o'clock at night, you know,
I'm walking down by myself.
correct, you know, so that's what I
Right.
consider like safety type of deal.
I don't have anything written.
No, that's fine,
No.
just,
So I'd put no on that one then.
okay. Security,
So that would like, how would I separate safety and security? So I'm gonna just say no
Mhm.
on that one.
security is there going to, should be cameras. Could be alarm system.
I got none of that.
Mhm.
I got a doorbell.
Yes, we
I have a
do.
doorbell.
Ding dong.
Services
I'm gonna
available.
change it to the porpoise sound just for.
I think so,
Dennis's
just for
benefit.
Can it just be Dennis's call?
They could do that.
Great, that'd be great.
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
Making that note for the new building.
That'd be a hoot.
Hoot man. Services available.
I mean, I think the newsletter spells out, especially on the outreach page and then all the special events and the meals. I think that's handled that way.
Spending authority guidelines,
That's the town.
technology usage. Got the town.
That's both in the town and the policies and procedures. So there's, the town has use of technology guidelines. And then we also have that for how our users can use the internet in our space.
And the last question of the
If you folks can hear me, I can't hear any discussion. Carly, are you still there? Hello? Carly, are you still on the meeting?
Sorry, everyone. Okay. Can you hear us again?
I can. You're back.
Okay. I'm not sure what happened there.
So did you hear, Cheryl? We finished the whole self-assessment.
Congratulations to each and every
So
one
I
of
will put this in there and I'll send it out to everybody so everybody can take a look at it. Make sure I didn't miss anything. But Dennis asked about what the next steps of it are.
Yeah, what's the process? Now that this, how does the process proceed with this document?
I think then we've got to sort of look through and pull out different things that could be action items, potential action items.
Right.
Some of the stuff we know isn't
feasible.
yeah, so in this location. But yes, it would probably be that at some point in time, I would say probably for years, you give the center a year to get up and running and then potentially go through the process again.
But do we submit it to the National Council?
I'm not getting this one to the national.
Not-
Council. Oh, no.
Your
No,
goal is to go up from what we did, what we have, and hopefully in time get accredited
right.
as
Yeah.
a national senior center.
I don't think, we wouldn't get accredited now. so
No.
I wouldn't bother. And I think we know that.
Okay, so after we're in the new building and we've done what we can to smooth out the rough edges in terms of what's been done here, then we submit it to this national accrediting agency?
Then we
Yeah.
have to do another reaccreditation.
We'd have to go through it again. And that might involve more people.
And they come in.
It in fact would have
They
to.
come in and usually look at you to say, what are you doing?
So this was, so the steps to complete were preview the material, form a self-assessment committee. And we saw early on that that's supposed to involve members of the committee. It's supposed to
Mhm.
involve, so if, when we go for accreditation a couple of years from now, that would probably come out of the COA board's proceedings and become its own
It'd be a
sort of
separate meeting.
committee that meets.
Yeah.
But the point of doing it with the COA board was to identify there's a lot of low hanging fruit action items that I can be working on. The creation of this volunteer manual
Yeah.
was as a result of this
As you're going
evaluation.
through, yeah.
So what I would see as the next step is, I mean, personally, I wouldn't even care if they were scanned versions of putting all of these different standards back together. But even if they are the handwritten notes, right, like scanned into one document. But I think the main thing that would come to save you the time, you don't need to retype this thing, right? But like the,
All right, I went in and I edited, I have it in Word.
okay, all right,
So I just went in and formulated it
okay.
and done it. So I'm just gonna do the last one. They're all ready to
Okay,
go.
oh, perfect. All right. So then I think the most important thing that comes from this is the action steps, because at the end of each of these
Yes,
standards was a place for comment and recommendation.
yes.
And so I
That's where I
would,
think we sort of missed on a lot of them. So there are some places in there that there are comments on there that I've taken in. That's the reason I want to get them back to all of you
And
to
we
see
can
if
put
there
out
was
this-
any that I missed.
okay, good. Yeah. And so I think that's the next step is,
Yeah.
is identifying what are the action items and then prioritizing those action
Well,
items.
exactly,
Right,
exactly.
because I think some of them the need for a volunteer handbook, I would put as
Yeah.
like red, like must do, must do, must do. Now it's in
Right,
progress,
but it's
so
not,
you
yeah.
can check that
Yeah.
off. There were a couple of things,
Right,
I forget all of the standards now, but there were several things that I was like, oh, I better get to that quickly.
Yeah, there were a lot of.
And when you get into the new center, you'll need a safety route
Mhm.
out, you'll need this, you'll need
Right.
that.
Yeah.
And they come and evaluate you,
Sure.
I mean, they might spend a week.
Right.
It's usually 3 days.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I know they're redoing this process right now. This accredit, because they didn't take any new people last year into the accreditation process. They didn't accredit anybody. Although I did notice they held an information session sometime this fall. So they must have, they skipped a year to redo this process.
Yeah.
So it will be a new manual we will get
Yeah.
for the next
Yeah.
time. I don't know what they do in terms of evaluation or site visits.
Evaluation team.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know I don't know what it's like for senior centers.
Yeah.
But I think the most important thing that comes from this is we did a very thorough baseline setting,
Mhm.
and we can identify some action steps and prioritize those action steps going forward.
Yep. I mean, I'm on board on this, you know what,
Yeah.
Amy and I talked to Groton.
Mhm.
Groton's gone through it a couple of times.
Yeah.
I've already gone through this. Is it
Yeah.
a second?
I think, yeah.
Accreditation they said is. So the accreditation's good for 5 years, I believe. Yeah, it's usually 5 to 7. So they would, and they had just completed their second.
Yeah, I think second.
Yeah.
They were saying it's a lot of work, right? Because you have to get a bigger group of people together and imagine, we're having this discussion with people who are very much aware of how the senior center works. And it's still involved, especially some of the earlier standards we did. I gave a lot of presentations and showed you materials and stuff like that. You start adding local church pastors and the local person from aging services and, community members at large, and it will become a much broader, more nuanced discussion. So, which is cool.
Even members of the center.
But
Right.
they come in and they observe and they watch and what's.
I don't know if they do that or not.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I haven't
no,
been
I
through
mean,
the senior
I've been
center.
through with, yeah.
With the schools, they do that. What I'm saying,
But I've
right.
been through like Millis and Framingham, Callahan. And
their senior center
Yeah.
accreditation. Okay. Yeah. So I don't know. I can't speak to it. You're
Yeah.
saying that they do. So I'm
Yeah.
not exactly sure how
Yeah.
that process works, but
Yeah.
we'll get there. But I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of action steps to be taken out of
Yeah.
this one.
And I mean, it might even be that we do another round internally before we say,
I think we're not.
yeah, we're ready, maybe we're not quite ready or whatnot.
Well, I think we need
just
to
a-
move into the new.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. get
Absolutely.
settled before we
Absolutely.
do.
Well, the new
Oh,
building,
Yeah,
new building will be part of it from our end, but they may revise the document again. This is from October of 23.
yeah,
So in 26, 27, they may have.
yeah, so, that would be sort of that, so you take that and probably do another go through like this, now that we've been through it, at least can we sort of.
Dennis, may I ask you a question on the planning committee for the new building?
Hmm.
Does the current senior center have any kind of an alarm system hooked up to the police? If there was ever that last page that talked about security had me thinking, if there was ever like an external intruder or someone trying to commit harm to anybody in the center, is there a way to signal the police or fire department or somebody that something's up without having to pick up the phone, like a panic button, for lack of a better word? So you don't have that currently. Is that something they thought of for the new center? Dennis, just given the state of American society in this day and age with,
So we don't have any of those things in the existing center. Housing does have, I think, 2 or 3 cameras mounted on the property. To the best of my knowledge, they do not monitor my exit here. But I don't know that for certain. I just know that there's only a couple here on the property. And then there's no panic button, there's no security system for this building. There's access control in the other buildings on this campus, but there is no access control here. So for the new building, there will be a complete access control system, as
Okay,
well as a security system and a panic button on each floor.
perfect. Good. That security
So
cost.
it's a much
Thank you.
larger building and it's a much more isolated location. Although,
In the heart of downtown.
well, yes,
It's
but
actually the building in the heart of downtown.
it's not in the heart of downtown,
No,
but it's,
close
you
enough.
know, it's.
Close enough to generate
Right.
economic activity.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, remind me to talk to you about that afterwards. Yeah. So,
This,
Yeah.
I mean,
it's off of Park Street. That's,
you call that downtown?
well, so I think the town was trying to define
Yeah, okay,
Main Street as it turns the corner into Park Street
okay.
there.
But Park Street is also, I mean, it's a heavily traveled
Yeah.
road, so now.
Sure is.
So I think there's a complete streets grant. Did I read that someplace? That there was a complete streets grant coming for Park Street? I don't know. I shouldn't say that in a public meeting. I thought I remembered that, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anything else?
So thank you all very much for your input on this. As I said, as I will put it together and get everybody out to it and if you sort of put your, if I've missed anything, please let me know. And we'll get them all taken care of. Okay.
Thank you for doing that.
All right, so I have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, Cheryl,
I say aye.
Marge, aye. Dennis,
Aye.
aye. We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. Good seeing you all.